Prescott. I was given bad information. Come on up, John.
Like so many of you, I'd rather hear Patrick as well introduce Matt. Back in 2014, we had an opening for an EMS chief as a position, how it's titled. And much to probably Jim's chagrin, but to Ted Munster's joy, we had a Bears candidate apply. He's a Bears fan, he'll even admit it. So anyway, Matt Callahan came to us from Illinois. He had been an EMS systems coordinator for Morris Hospital and the healthcare systems. Also worked for Marcellus, Illinois Area Ambulance as assistant chief for EMS operations and a paramedic, and also for the Marcellus, Illinois Fire Protection District as a firefighter and paramedic was part of his background in applying for that position. And I think you're kind of southwest of Chicago, an hour or so, Matt? Yeah. About an hour is kind of to help you place that if you're not familiar. And he's doing a great job with that. He updated some of our protocols with regard to the ambulance and working with the hospital and a number of other things that he did. And he was doing a very nice job. And then in August of last year, we had an opening for fire chief. Our fire chief left us, and Matt was one of the candidates that we had who applied for that. And he went through a couple different rounds of interviews and kept advancing to be one of our top 3 candidates. And we were pleased when he did accept that position and began his fire chief duties in January of this year. And like any firefighter and paramedic, there are numerous certificates and letters that they have behind their names that I cannot tell you what all those mean without a dictionary, but he has a number of those from instructor to hazmat to rope rescue, etc. Matt is married with 3 young kids that are probably easier to entertain for a weekend than Ralph. So please help me welcome Matt Callahan.
Thank you, John. I appreciate the warm introduction. That's way more than what I was said about myself. If I had to introduce myself up here now, I'm going to try to do this without messing up your computer to put a PowerPoint in. So does anybody know 100% sure how to do that, or is it just pop it in and it goes?
I have no idea.
We'll give it a shot. All else fails as a good instructor, I'll wing it. Oh, that's a PowerPoint running already. Well, that would be why. Piece of cake. Oh no, we don't want to. Don't ever click scan and fix because it'll never work again.
He's got it covered.
Perfect. Here we go. 2017 Rotary presentation. Look at that. Let's see. Found a problem. Oh, we're gonna have to go repair. Uh-oh, it's not working. That's not good. Somebody else is running it back there in the back, and I'm keep moving the mouse. Okay. All right. Anyways, so as John said, my name. This is gonna time me down. So I'm part Irish, part Italian. So for me to pace back and forth is normal and talk with my hands, but having to stand here by a microphone is gonna have to like tie my hands behind my back. So hey, there we go. We've got it going. It's on my screen. No clicker. Hey, look at that. All right. As John said, my name is Matt Callahan. I'm the fire chief here, Vermilion Fire EMS Department, also the chief for the Vermilion Rural Fire Department, which a lot of people don't know is that we actually operate two separate fire departments here. We operate a city fire department and a rural fire department, but you'd never know the difference when we show up on a call. It's really the same folks. It's just basically running 2 separate budgetary accounts. Tim asked me to come and speak today and kind of give you a little bit of update of what we got going on at the department and stuff like that, which is nice. We can kind of get out and share what we're doing. We're doing a lot of good things. As John said, I am a Bears fan. I'm not happy with the last several years, but hey, it's a rebuilding year. That's right. We're undefeated.
This year we haven't lost a game.
That's right. That's right. I do bleed Cubby blue. Very, very big, and yeah, go Cubs. Anyways, so Vermilion Fire EMS Department, currently, we operate out of 2 stations, one at 820 North Dakota Street, right up here next to McDonald's. It's our main headquarters. All of our administrative staff is there. We also operate a secondary fire station, which is on the backside of City Hall, and we run several pieces of apparatus out of there. We're very fortunate to have our own training facility down at the wastewater treatment plant. We have a 4-story burn tower that we use down there quite frequently. Along with a lot of different props. We have a car fire prop that we can use down there, and a car that was actually made and donated by Masaba that was cut for us, and it was a humongous advantage for us to be able to do that. And then we have some confined space props and stuff like that down there. So we're very advanced, we're very proactive, we're very community-based, and that's really what we are. We're a community-focused, value-centered, modern, and credible emergency service provider for the citizens of the area. And so really what our goal is we are there to be a part of the community. We don't want to just be the people that respond in your time of need. We want people to know that we're there. We want people to know that they can come to us with problems, issues they see in the community, and be there for us. And be there for them. We are very value-centered. We have a lot of respect for ourselves, for the department, and for our community. And we stay very modern. One of the things that you have to do in the fire service is you have to stay modern. You have to stay up on modern technology. It is, yes, we still put the wet stuff on the red stuff and take care of the boo-boos and stuff like that and take people to the hospital. But things have changed on how we do that. And so we have to really stay up to date how we provide that care. Besides for me, as the fire chief, I look at it as, I cannot be the department. The department is everybody else, and I'm just there to kind of guide the train down the right set of tracks and provide some leadership. Our executive operational leadership, these are the people that boots on the ground. These people are out there getting it done every day when the calls go out. We have 2 assistant chiefs in the fire division, John Walker and Keith Thompson. Aaron McDowell, who just started with us last week, has taken my old position. He's the deputy chief in charge of EMS operations. We have a city fire marshal, Matt Taggart. He's responsible for our life safety division, which has multiple different things in it, and we'll talk about that. I'll tell you a little bit about that here shortly. We have an administrative assistant, Audrey Larson, who's there Monday through Friday for us. And then we have 7 captains and 3 lieutenants. And those are the folks that are really, they're out there, they're riding the trucks, and they're taking care of their staff when they're out and about. It's kind of just an organization chart, and it really shows that, we break it down into groups. And without the people under me, the whole department's not possible. I can't function as the department. I can't go and put out all the fires, take all the people to the hospital, all that stuff. But it's those people that really are what we do. Our fire rescue division, we have two captains, 2 assistant chiefs, 5 captains, 3 lieutenants, and 44 firefighters assigned to this division. And they're responsible for fire suppression, hazmat incidents, specialized rescue, high and low angle, confined space, trench, vehicle rescue, things of that sort. We stay very busy. As you know, our demographics for Vermilion, we are not, if you look at the median age, it's not, 55 to 70. It's in that 20 to 30 range, and a lot of that has to do with the university. And so, our types of call volume and stuff fluctuates based on the school year, and you can see that in our statistics, that summertime is kind of a slow time for us as students take off and they depart, and then as students come back, our call volume will go up again. Our EMS division, these are the people that man the ambulances, and they provide 911 services. They provide non-emergency transfer services for Sanford Hospital, and we also do standby events. Where I came from in Illinois, we used to do 5-10 standbys a year, and we thought that was pretty busy. Well, when I came here, it was that a culture shock. 25 to 30 standbys a year minimum. By the time we do all the football games that are at the Dakota Dome and all that stuff, it really is busy. And fall season for us is just standby heavy. And Our staff loves football games, but I can tell you by November, they're ready for football to be over. Even though it's fun, we enjoy going. It's just, it's a lot. But we have one deputy chief that's in charge of the EMS division. Underneath him, we have two captains, one that's in charge of training and one that's in charge of the operations side that assists the deputy chief. Currently, we have 3 paramedics on staff, 8 advanced EMTs, and 17 EMTs. And one of our main goals and focuses is really to, part of our EMS division is to really get that paramedic number up. We want to see 100% paramedic coverage for the citizens of Vermilion and the surrounding area that we serve. Training is everything for us. I just read something the other day that said you can't train too much for a job that will kill you. And that's the truth. Our job is very dangerous. And, you know, most of the time people don't want, you know, people are running out of a building and we're running in. It's just the way, it's the nature of the beast. And so we train heavily. We have meetings. Our first Wednesday of the month, we have a fire meeting. Second Wednesday of the month, we have an EMS meeting. We go through new things, new policies, new procedures, new ways we're going to do things. And then we get into, you know, we have core firefighter training where we basically go back through what was taught in the fire academy, and we just refresh that stuff every month. We have driver, specialized rescue training, and then we have officer training. So not only are we developing our firefighters and developing them into, you know, very skilled firefighters, we also have to develop our officers, our lieutenants, our captains, our chiefs, to be able to be there and lead and excel in what we're doing. One of the biggest things that's really taken off for us is our life safety division, and that was in part in 2 years ago, we were blessed to get a part-time fire inspector, which has helped with fire inspections. And then on top of that, this past year, we were able to move that person to a full-time status. And that person is the full-time city fire marshal, but they also assist code enforcement with things as they need it. In the life safety division, it's really this is a huge part of the fire service. And one thing we do is we do community outreach. And in our community outreach, what falls into that? Recruitment retention. Nationwide, we see a large decrease in volunteer firefighters and EMTs, and really it's how do we draw people to be a part of our department? How can we attract them to help their community? And so about 50% of our department is college students, and we have a lot of college students. They're very good, they're very knowledgeable, they show up quite a bit, but the downside to it is every 3 to 4 years we lose them. And then we constantly get new people in, which is good. I call it a good revolving door. All right, you never want to have a bad revolving door in a business, but it's a good revolving door because we bring them in, we train them. A lot of them go back to their volunteer departments where they're from, and they're already trained, and they join up there and they move on. So one of the things we're working on is recruitment and retention programs. How do we get out? How do we get people to join our ranks? Other things he's responsible for: health and safety fairs, getting people out there from the department, not necessarily him, but making sure we're there, we're represented on both the fire prevention and the EMS safety side for things. We do some senior safety education down at the high rises and stuff like that at the community or the senior center, where he'll spend some time down there with them, talking specifically to them about fire safety, slip, trips, and falls, things like that in their homes. The other thing we have is we have our Knox Box program. At our Knox Box program, and you'll notice it on some of the university buildings, primarily the residence halls, it's a black box, and you'll see it on some of the businesses around town. It's a black box about that big, and in that box is the keys to that building. And what that allows us is when the fire alarm goes off or something happens at that building and it's 2 o'clock in the morning, it prevents us from having to call the business owner and go, "Hi, your fire alarm's going off. Could you come down and unlock your building, please?" It gets us into the building about 15 to 20 minutes sooner. We go in, we open the door, we go in, we do what we need to do, we come back out, we lock the door, we put the keys back in the box, we lock the box back up, and we all go home and we make a phone call to the business the next morning, letting them know what happened. So it's a big program. Right now, currently, we have over 50 of these boxes throughout town on different businesses, residence halls on the campuses, et cetera. Fire prevention, obviously, that's a big thing. We've done fire prevention so well since, the days of the bucket brigade that we've worked ourselves out of fires. And so I guess we're doing a good job at it, but we've lowered the number of fires that we used to have. And so we do that. We do fire safety with a lot of different groups. We spend some time over at CESDAC with those folks, teaching them about fire safety and cooking safety and things. We spend time with senior citizens, and then we spend a lot of time with our school children, especially in the month of October for Fire Prevention Week. We'll go down to the schools. We'll spend a couple weeks there. We'll have a safety trailer there, do programs and stuff for them on fire safety, stop, drop, and roll, et cetera. The other thing he's responsible for is the fire inspections throughout town. And so our division is responsible for inspecting commercial buildings, public buildings, educational facilities, multifamily residences. So, apartment buildings that have more than 4 occupancies in them. We have to inspect the public space, not the individual apartment, but the public space. And then any temporary businesses that pop up, such as fireworks stands. We're kind of getting close to that. We'll get some applications coming in for fireworks stands, but those have to be inspected to make sure that they meet code requirements. The other thing that we don't do a lot of, which is good, but we have to be very versed in it, and we don't do a lot of it, so it takes more education to stay on top of it, is fire investigation. And so last year in 2016, we only had 4 fire investigations, which was fantastic. That's pretty good. But we're responsible for finding the cause and origin of all fires. And we have a good, very close working relationship with the Vermillion Police Department detectives. We work closely with the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Arson Division. They're very good. They're based right out of Sioux Falls. One phone call, and within an hour, usually you get a couple of agents down here, and they'll help you out. They're very versed in cause and origin investigation. Also, the State Fire Marshal's Office is a huge help for us. The other thing that kind of falls into this is the open burn ordinance within the city. We get calls, people are burning trash or rubbish or tires or whatnot, and you can't burn that kind of stuff inside the city limits. And so, we go out and we talk to the folks, explain why you can't do that, and take care of the problem. This is just a breakdown from 2016 to kind of show you the different variety of calls for service that we have. Obviously, medical incidents take up 79% of what we do. 770 of our calls last year were all medical calls, somewhere within the city of Vermillion or the Rural Fire Protection District. We had 33 fires. Now, you're going to go, wow, you only did 4 fire investigations and you had 33 fires. Well, in that fires is, a trash can on fire or a car on fire. That's good food, not bad manners, sorry. That could be, grass fire or something like that. So it all kind of gets lumped into one. The federal government doesn't get real specific on, how they want them broke apart, so they just lump it all into a fire category. Hazardous spill or leak, 16 of them, those range from gas spills at a gas station to, oil on the ground after a car accident, stuff like that. Fire alarms, we run quite a few fire alarms, not as many as some people would think with a large university, which is good though. It means kids are being good and things like that. But we have a lot of businesses in our town that have fire alarms also. And so of that, fire alarms or CO alarms with no hazards found, only 72 last year. That's not bad. We look at that, that's pretty good. Service calls, and that's kind of like the other box. Anything that doesn't fit into a category ends up dumped in a service call. And this night, we were at 19 last year. Some carbon monoxide incidents, natural gas, propane leaks, motor vehicle accidents. So it's just kind of how it breaks down for us. We run a wide variety of calls. Medical calls, like most departments, dominates about 80% of your call volume. So nothing abnormal definitely going on in Vermillion. Response times, obviously we cover a wide area, and you can see we go up to Wakanda for ambulance coverage. And so, this kind of shows from the time of the call that comes in to the time we get an ambulance on the scene, going to Wakanda, it's about 32 minutes. It's a long time. They have a good first responder group up there that takes care of their patients until we get there to transport for them. Vermillion Rural Fire District, about on average 13 minutes. In the city, 9 minutes from the time you call to the time the truck's showing up at your house, about 9 minutes, and the university is about 7 minutes, but that's right across the street from the station. Calls by day of the week, kind of steady until you get to Saturday. But, we run, typical standbys are on Saturday and stuff, so it tends to be our busy day. So not a huge fluctuation in busyness. A lot of places see, one day is real busy compared to the other, but not typical, pretty typical for us. But the calls by month, I find it interesting because you look at other places and, their summertime is their peak. Well, our summertime is our low here. And, you can see when fall semester starts in August, we kind of ramp up a little bit, and then Christmas happens, and then they come back in the spring. So, it's a huge population swing, when students are here and when they're not here. But yeah, so it's interesting to look at some of the stuff to see. We're very, very active in grant writing. I think that's one of the things we spend a lot of our time on, which is good, is going after grants. There's a lot of small grants out there and some big federal grants that we go after. Last year, we were fortunate enough to we went after the federal Assistance to Firefighters grant. We wrote for brand new self-contained breathing apparatuses, the air bottles that we wear. We were awarded $150,000 to replace all of our air bottles and our packs and everything. So that got us that only got us 25 packs, $150,000. They're about six to 7,000 a piece for one of those. Walmart's always been very gracious with their grant program for us. They awarded us $1,500 last year for iPads. We have iPads in almost all of our vehicles that has the mapping software on it, and tablet software for us to do reports, take pictures, stuff like that. And then the Spirit Mound generating station gave us $2,500 for a carbon monoxide monitor. So very good. We're already got probably a half a dozen grants wrote this year already, and another half a dozen to go. And a lot of them are real, are small, 2,500, 3,000, but every little bit helps, and they add up in the end. So, and then on top of the departments, there's the associations, and really a lot of what we do comes out of the associations, and so the Rural Firefighters Association provides the firefighters for the city department, but they also help support the city department by providing some equipment. They buy all the rural fire trucks, which there are a lot of rural fire trucks, but you can imagine, you get a call 5 miles outside of town, you got to take all your own water with you. You got to take everything, because there's, once you get there, it's a long way back to get water and stuff like that. So they play a huge part in the overall circle process here. And then the Vermilion Clay County Ambulance Association, they actually run the community CPR program. To date, since it started back in, I believe it was like 2004, they've certified like over 5,000 people in CPR, which is fantastic. And the more people we can get CPR certified, the better. They also provide local EMT classes once a year to try to keep the influx of new EMTs coming back into our organization. So that is kind of us. That is what we do, and where we're at. I was told I have 30 minutes exactly, and this ends at 1 o'clock, and people get up and walk out regardless if the speaker's done or not. So I've left 12 minutes now till 1 o'clock to take questions and answer your questions. Yes, sir.
You mentioned something about you wish you had more paramedics. What's the difference between paramedic and EMT?
That's a very good question. Paramedics are, and I'll start with their training. To become an EMT, it's about a 4.5 month process. Paramedic is about 2 years on top of the EMT training. Besides for that, it's the amount of medications they can give. EMTs can give 2 or 3, paramedics can give 30 to 35 different medications. And then there's procedures, some surgical procedures paramedics can perform, things like that.
So in an ambulance rolls is generally staffed by 2 EMTs usually?
I would say probably about 40% of the time it's 2 EMTs. We have about 8 advanced EMTs, and they're in the middle between a paramedic and an EMT, so they can start IVs and give about 10 drugs and stuff like that. And so, a lot of times we have an advanced EMT on board, and then myself and the new deputy chief, and we have one other paramedic. They're all licensed paramedics in the state. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't know if it was EMTs or who it was, but 9 months ago, my neighbor, I looked at my front door and two police were over him. He was lying on the ground, the truck came, they put him in the truck, he was the color of that wall. And I thought he was dead. They had the pump on him, they worked him, they got him to the hospital, and Mark is back in town. So what a great job.
Thank you, we appreciate that. Question? I'm sorry, I can't see you. I'm short too, so I can't see you over the computer monitor. Go ahead, Tim.
A couple of questions.
Yes.
One, when you moved from Illinois to South Dakota, what was was there a different change in firefighting culture, in, service providing culture? Was there any? And what's your biggest challenge that you confront here in Vermont?
I think, one of the differences that I noticed, I guess is more of demographic wise. I come from a community that's primarily older population, has a 105-bed nursing home, to where we would go a couple times a day to the nursing home for ambulance calls. And so to come here and not have to go to a nursing home because it's attached to the hospital, that's a huge shock. But to deal with, having more of the lower age population is different for me. But really, it's the same. Every state has its differences as far as medical procedures allowed and stuff like that, but not a huge variation as far as that goes. And what was your other question? I'm sorry.
The biggest challenge that you face as fire chief here, what needs to be on the horizon you have to address?
I think most fire chiefs, if you talk to them, especially nowadays, that have anything to do with a volunteer department is recruitment and retention. And that's just something we're facing nationwide. One of the things I found hardest when I first came here is, first time they dispatched us for a wildland fire, I'm like, a what? What's a wildland fire? I'm like, we have, brush fires where it's like a couple bushes or some prairie grass going, but not like, hundreds and hundreds of acres burning and trees and all that. And they're like, oh no, I'm like, oh, that's like totally new for me, That was probably one of the, but as far as structural firefighting, it's all the same. It's just a little different. I used to call for a mutual aid help from other departments and they'd be there in 5 minutes. Here it's 25 minutes. It's just population, so, but it's all the same how we do things.
There was a fire in Gayville a couple of weeks ago, I think on Saturday morning. Not interested in the fire, but how did that fire department decide that they needed more help? And how did they decide who to call for more help? Because I heard in the news that several units or several different entities were involved.
Yeah, everybody, I can't speak for how they, make a decision to call for mutual aid. But as far as us, I'm a big proponent. Everybody likes to be invited to the party. And so, we'll get to a fire, and within the first 5 minutes, I'll know if I can tell if we need help or not. A day like today, 95 degrees outside, we're going to need help. I mean, even if it's small, we'll need help. Everybody's going to be exhausted, tired, gassed, or if it's really cold. Those are probably the hardest times. Or if the fire is just stubborn, it's really hard to find, really hard to get at. The guys and girls are going to get tired. And so, we'll bring in more help. We've got I brought some stuff from Illinois to where we actually built in what we call alarm levels. And instead of me telling the dispatcher, I need Elk Point with an engine, Wakanda with a tanker, Yankton with a ladder, I just tell dispatch I need a second alarm, and it's already pre-built out what trucks I want from what department. And they just read it off the sheet. They can look at it, and then they call those departments. So that makes it a lot easier for me, because then I'm not thinking, oh man, did I miss somebody? Was somebody closer? We've already thought that out.
What are the city ordinances concerning fireworks now?
Concerning fireworks, as far as public sale of fireworks or public use, so there is a classification, and we'll start publishing that material. Actually, the fire marshal's putting it all together right now to start publishing it for public. But it's based on the grains in the material. So basically, anything they sell at the fireworks stand that they'll set up by Walmart, if they come back there, I'm assuming they probably will. Any of that stuff is legal. That stuff is legal for a citizen to use within the city. Outside the city limits, though, they can, as far as I know, there's no county ordinance as far as fireworks size or anything like that a homeowner could actually shoot off. It's whatever, at that point, it's what South Dakota allows to be bought by a non-licensed fireworks vendor. But the city does, there is a stipulation in the cities of where you have to be licensed over a certain size and a certain grain in the fireworks itself. so a certain size.
How unique is your training facility down by the wastewater plant? Do other entities use that? And does Vermillion need reimbursed for that?
You know, that's a good question. To the first part of your question, how unique is it? Where I came from, we used to have to travel about 60 miles to go to one. So I think we're very unique, and we're very fortunate to have that facility. Do other agencies come and use it? It is open as a regional training facility. We just require that they provide us some notice, and we provide the instructors, or what I call stokers, to actually man the fire and build the fires and stuff like that, because we know what the facility can tolerate. And then from there, we encourage other agencies to, do we charge for the facility use? No, because we want these other departments to come and utilize it and train, and really be the best that they can be, and to give them that opportunity to burn in a controlled setting is very hard to find. Yes, Desi.
You mentioned guys and girls, and do you have a lot of women volunteer firefighters?
Yes, we have probably 6 to 8 female firefighters, and then I would say probably 50% of our EMS staff is female.
We pay our athletes now to play football in college. Do you pay any of your volunteer fire people? And if you don't, have you ever considered that as a way of recruitment?
Oddly enough, we've had this discussion now for a couple months. Currently, no, our firefighters are not paid. They are 100% volunteer, and they do it because they want to do it. Our EMTs are paid. They're paid on call, so they get a little bit for being on call, and then they get a little bit more for going on the call. Would I say it's career worthy? No, it's not. It's really just a kind of to help with the recruitment. And have we talked about it as far as volunteer firefighter recruitment? Yes, we have, but it doesn't sound like a lot when you're only running a couple hundred fire calls, but when you have 12 to 14 people show up for each one of those calls, it adds up very quickly. But yes, we are looking at different types of ways to do recruitment and retention, and how can we keep people, how can we entice people to be a part of our department?
I'm not suggesting that, because I'm pretty conservative on taxes.
No, I understand, and that's really, and that's the biggest thing, and I we have an operating budget, and we operate within that budget every year, and that's what it is, and we're fortunate for what we have, and we do very well with what we have. Yes, sir.
One last question.
Yes, sir.
When you have a fire call, how many of the firefighters are expected to show up? Do you call for a certain number? How does that?
Yep. When we get dispatched, it's dispatched as what I call a general alarm, and everybody is dispatched. Everybody's pager goes off. We don't select, a certain 20 or whatever, and so they're expected to respond to 25% of the calls every year, and so only running 200 calls, that's a lot of calls, but they do, and they come, and we do very well. A typical house fire, we'll get anywhere from 20 to 25 people to show up, which is very adequate.
If you go to a call in another city, are you reimbursed for that? If you call for another city, do you have to pay them?
Nope, it's all under federal mutual aid agreements, state and federal mutual aid agreements that, we'll help you if you help us, and nobody's charged either way. Thank you.